What is good, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Wrestling with Fans podcast. We are a pro wrestling podcast created by fans for fans from a fan's perspective. My name is Kyle. This is episode 147, Life in the Fastlane. That's right, we're going to break down Sunday night's WWE Fastlane pay-per-view. Got a lot of news stories to cover. We're going to talk about Raw from last night. And we're going to check in on where we currently stand for WrestleMania 37. Quick shout out, Solmat is in here. EWW PickFed is in the chat. You guys know how we do. Live streaming on YouTube 4 nights a week. Let's run down that stream schedule real quick while we're talking about it. Mondays, 7:30 to 8 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. It's the Monday Night Raw preview. Then on Tuesdays, like tonight, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern till around 9 p.m. Eastern, it is a live recording of the Wrestling with Fans podcast. Wednesdays, 7:30 to 8 p.m., it is all about the Wednesday Night War, NXT, and AEW Dynamite preview. And then on Fridays, 7:30 to 8 p.m. Eastern for the SmackDown preview on Fox each and every week, right here on the YouTube channel. Speaking of the YouTube channel, just search Wrestling with Fans Podcast, click the blue logo, and then click that subscribe button if you are listening to the audio version of this show, which will be dropped on Thursday morning over on our website, wrestlingwithfans.com. You can download or stream the shows at any time, or you can take us on the go, download us to your favorite podcast listening device. You can find us wherever you get your podcast fix. Just search Wrestling with Fans Podcasts. We are on Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, all the major podcasting platforms. You can find Wrestling with Fans. You can follow us on Instagram at Wrestling with Fans. You'll see the little blue logo. I like to post some fun pictures over there from time to time and update on live streams and things like that. And another reminder, next Monday, it is the 3rd anniversary special for the Wrestling with Fans podcast, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on our YouTube channel. You're going to have myself, going to have Chris, going to have my girlfriend Jennifer, who are usually in here in the chat on YouTube, my OG tag team partner, Bobby, and also one of my best friends in the entire world, Jason, all former co-hosts of the podcast here. All going to join us. We're going to have some fun. Downfall Wrestling, welcome to the chat, my friend. Glad to have you here. I'm going to catch up on the chat in just a minute because we're going to try something new here, guys. This is just for YouTube. I haven't had this in the works for a while, but I'm just now trying it for the very, very first time. Welcome to the Wrestling with Fans news desk. And it doesn't really work because I am wearing a black shirt that just happens to match the background. If you want to support the channel, you can buy your official Wrestling with Fans t-shirts. Links to all the social medias and to the shop are in the video description of this YouTube video, and it will also be in the audio description of the podcast once it's dropped. All right, let me try to catch up on the chat here. Kind of want to do a podcast. Had an idea for a while. I could talk with all these YouTubers like Downfall, maybe you, KWS, a bunch of other people. EWW podcasting is fun, man. I honestly started my podcast in 2010. I've been podcasting for 11 years. My original podcast was called My Pocket Radio. It was kind of a gaming, tech, nerdy kind of podcast. And then I did various other podcasts, but I've been doing exclusively Wrestling with Fans the last 3 years. and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to do podcasting. All you need is a microphone, just press record. But we're at the Wrestling with Fans news desk. DJ Plays in the chat. What is good, my friend? Welcome. Glad to see you in here for the live stream. We're at the news desk. Let's talk some wrestling news. Move this over here. It was announced on Raw, and she did so on social media. The Queen, Charlotte Flair, has tested positive for COVID-19. She tweeted that out, and it was also made reference to by Rhea Ripley on Raw when she made her challenge to Asuka. And again, we'll dive into that here later on in the show. Also, her fiance Andrade tweeted that she only had 4 more days left, I guess, to get in the clear. So we're assuming, based off of that, by Friday she should be clear. Which means this explains her absence last night on Raw, and it also explains her absence last week on Raw. So best wishes to the Queen Charlotte on a speedy recovery. Now, after Andrade made his tweet talking about she had 4 days left and hopes she returns to the WrestleMania poster, PW Insider made a report that she will be returning to action on SmackDown this Friday. Now, I'm not sure where they are getting that information from, if it's from an actual source, or if they're basing that speculation on the fact that Andrade made this tweet on Monday, and 4 days later would be this Friday's SmackDown. I'm going out on a limb and guessing that he is just referring to the 14-day window from when she tested positive. So it's usually a 10 to 14-day window. You're kind of in the clear after that, but, everybody's different. So again, speedy recovery to the Queen Charlotte Flair, because it seems that her WrestleMania match is no longer in the works. We'll get to that later on. The next big news story, Batista has been pulled from the WWE Hall of Fame. Now, he was originally set to go in last year, the class of 2020, but due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Hall of Fame last year was put on hold, and they will be part of this year's ceremony. So this year's ceremony will have both the class of 2020 and the class of 2021. It was shown on his on the Hall of Fame website on WWE.com. Batista's name was removed the other day, and on his official profile on the website, it no longer had the Hall of Fame logo. No one knew what the situation was, but Batista did release a statement earlier this evening. I noticed this about half an hour before I went live. He says that due to a prior commitment, he will be unable to attend this year's ceremony. He also said that WWE agreed to induct him as part of another ceremony at a later date, because he wants to be able to properly thank the fans and all of those who helped his career, #Dream Chaser. So Batista's been pulled from this year's Hall of Fame. He has another commitment. I'm guessing it's probably some type of acting gig or another prior filming engagement that he had that conflicts with the dates. We'll get on to that in just a second, because speaking of Hall of Fames, this year's Hall of Fame ceremony will take place Tuesday, April 6th. It will include both the 2020 and 2021 classes. Now, last year's Hall of Fame class for 2020 includes Jushin Thunder Liger, John Bradshaw Layfield, the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith, and as a group, the New World Order, consisting of members Hollywood Hogan, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and Syxx. And already announced for this year's class, the 2021 class for the WWE Hall of Fame, Molly Holly and Eric Bischoff. But speaking of this year's class, speaking of the 2021 class, Hall of Fame, the rumor is, and I don't remember the source, and I apologize for whoever came out with this, but the new rumored addition that is apparently leaked for the class of 2021, Mr. Monday Night Rob Van Dam. That's right. The whole effing show is apparently going to be joining the 2021 Hall of Fame class. If this is true, I'm sure we will get an official announcement sometime in the next week or so. But congratulations, if true, to the whole effing show and to all the other Hall of Famers. We'll be covering the Hall of Fame WrestleMania week. I've got a great week planned. I'm going to be live every single night for about 11 days straight, from the Monday Night Raw before all the way through to the Monday Night Raw after. And then if NXT does move to Tuesdays, we'll be on NXT. We'll just start the whole week over. It might be 2 full weeks of streaming. It'll be interesting. Also, no word on who will be inducting any of the Hall of Fame inductees from last year or this year. But I know there was a lot of talk last year when the NWO was announced without Eric Bischoff. So I'm glad that WWE is making right by including Eric Bischoff in the 2021 class of the Hall of Fame. Now let's jump back to Andrade for a minute. Talked about his tweet about Charlotte's recovery from COVID. Per Uncle Dave Meltzer over at Wrestling Observer Radio, Andrade apparently does not have the standard 90-day no-compete clause in his contract. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, usually when a performer is released by the company, when he gets that infamous wish him the best of luck in all of his future endeavors, that also comes with a standard 90-day no-compete clause, where that performer is not allowed to appear for or sign with or wrestle with any other company within 90 days. So the rumor was around the middle of June, around June 19th and June 20th, Andrade would be able to sign with any promotion that he wanted. However, again, per Dave Meltzer, this is not the case. So Andrade could technically sign with any promotion at this time. Now, he did come from CMLL in Mexico, but they are currently not running shows. He could go to Ring of Honor with some of his former Los Ingobernables stablemates. But again, they are not running active shows. Currently, other than WWE, he could go back to New Japan, where he spent some time previously. They are not running a lot of shows, but they are currently running some shows here and there. There's also Impact Wrestling, and the obvious choice that a lot of people think he will end up, along with his former manager and also current free agent Thea Trinidad, the former Zelina Vega, and that is All Elite Wrestling. So we'll be keeping an eye out, and we'll make sure we let you guys know as soon as something breaks. If there's any good articles, we always post them to the Facebook page. So if you haven't liked the Facebook page, there's a link in the video description. Go over there and Hulk smash that like button on the Facebook page. Facebook.com/wrestling with fans. And in the final article we're going to talk about, Stephanie McMahon appeared on Bloomberg Business of Sports, and the topic of discussion was what WWE's plans are post Vince McMahon. Now it says here, and this is a recap thanks to Eric Mutter from Wrestling Inc. Stephanie admitted that no one person can replace what Vince brings to the table, saying, quote, I don't think there will ever be a person-to-person replacement for Vince McMahon. He does too much. The landscape will look different however it shakes out. Goes on to say here, rather than herself or husband Paul Triple H Levesque trying to turn themselves into the next Vince McMahon, Stephanie suggested that WWE will take a by-committee approach. And another quote here from her, I do think a lot of the institutional knowledge is important, particularly with regards towards the core content. But it's also surrounding our business with strong, smart executives, and that's exactly what we have. So I do think it's the marriage of institutional knowledge, the incredible production value, the creation of talent IP and storylines, and really strong business executives to help us expand. I think it's a combination of things. So Vince McMahon is 75 years old. I've talked about it here recently on some live streams. You guys have been talking about it in the chat. Vince kind of is out of touch with things right now. At least That's what the thought is amongst a lot of the fans. So it'll be really interesting whenever the time comes for Vince McMahon to step down or he walks away, however that plays out, how that's going to constitute what goes on in WWE. It's going to be an interesting time. The wrestling world could go into chaos whenever Vince McMahon either steps down or unfortunately passes away. Now, let me bring this back up here. I don't know how this is going to work. We'll turn that off. And we'll bring this in with the chat window. We'll bring the chat window back in here. I like having the chat window. As you can see, we are at 63 subscribers. I'd love to hit 75 by the end of the March. It would be really nice. Let's jump back into the chat here for a minute. EWW, they should make Shane the owner when Vince steps down. At one point, Shane McMahon was reportedly in line. He left the company, if you guys remember, about 15 years ago. He went to partner with some other mixed martial arts companies and other business ventures, and then made his return a few years ago, where at that point it was kind of Stephanie and Triple H who kind of stepped into those roles. Triple H taking over the NXT brand, doing such an amazing job with it. Also has been given the 205 Live brand, which we talked about on the live stream last night or during Fastlane. I can't remember. They all kind of blur together after a while. The 205 Live was a great product. Triple H really improved the product for a while. I just haven't had an opportunity to watch it in the last couple months. But yeah, Triple H and Shane are both 50. If either of them took over at this point, they would be older than when Vince McMahon originally bought WWF from his father, Vince Sr. So just to put some things into perspective for everybody out there, while Vince might be an old man, Triple H and Shane and Stephanie would all be older than Vince if they were to take over now. Just kind of put things into perspective. Light heavyweight high flyers like Jeff or cruiserweight high flyer like Rey Mysterio. Both awesome guys. And neither one of them currently have anything planned for WrestleMania. We'll touch on that later in the podcast. And I also got a really cool surprise for you guys. I'll get to that later when I take my little mid-show break. But let's look at WWE Fastlane. Fastlane was this past Sunday. Again, thank you to all of you guys who were in here during the live stream. I realize that screen makes my face really, really bright, but unfortunately, Wikipedia is very... Wait, maybe I'll move it over here a little bit. So it's not quite as bad. We had a lot of fun on the Fastlane stream. Huge bump in subscribers. Thanks to all of you guys who have subscribed. Following the channel. I've been joining me ever since. Love having you guys on board. I'm going to give you guys some channel shout outs in the chat here later on tonight. But let's go back. Fastlane, the pre-show. Matt Riddle defeating Mustafa Ali, successfully retaining the United States Championship in a little over 9 minutes. Pretty good match. Matt Riddle is a great worker. Mustafa Ali, one of the most underrated talents that WWE has on their roster. So it's good to see him get a nice long match, even if it was on the pre-show. And then post-match, that's where the majority of the interesting stuff happens. Post-match, Retaliation, a.k.a. HBIC Mia Yim, walked out. Mustafa Ali kind of berates all of the members of Retribution. She walks out. Slapjack, a.k.a. Shane Thorne, follows suit, which leaves the two big men, Mason T-Bar, Dio Madden, and Dominic Dijakovic. They hit the big double choke slam, and seemingly this is the end of Retribution. However, there was no follow-up on Raw this week. No story, no interview, no nothing. We got zero follow-up on the potential breakup of Retribution. So I'm hoping sometime over the next couple weeks we get some type of follow-up to actually what is going on with Retribution, how it's breaking up, if it is officially over, how that works. We need some kind of follow up. So hopefully we get that soon. And hopefully they take those stupid masks off and allow, Mia Yim and Dominic Dijakovic specifically to get the proper shine that they deserve. Shane Thorne is a great hand. Dio Madden, I haven't really seen a lot of them wrestle, but it'd be nice to let these guys be themselves. Again, I talked about this the other night. There's a video on the channel, Fantasy Booking Retribution's debut, where I gave every member a great storyline where they could have kept their actual ring names without these stupid masks. Check that out on the channel. Real fun video to make. I might do some more of those. All right, back to the chat here. Salmon says, I couldn't believe that Retribution was over just like that. I wanted them to feud with the Nexus. Wasn't there a report about the Nexus returning? Salmon, there were some rumor and innuendo at one point that there was going to be a Nexus reunion last year at WrestleMania. I think they were the original thought, at least from what I remember, is that they were going to be brought in to be a part of the Firefly Funhouse match with John Cena and the Fiend Bray Wyatt. If you remember last year's WrestleMania during the Firefly Funhouse match, the Fiend took John Cena through all of the, quote, mistakes of his career. And one of the points they were going to highlight would have been how he single-handedly buried the Nexus. They were so hot. They had that amazing angle on their original debut. Daniel Bryan choking out Justin Roberts with his tie, which harkened back to, the Chris Benoit tragedy. Daniel Bryan lost his job, but then eventually got rehired back. We know how that story has gone ever since. But they had that big 7-on-7 match at SummerSlam. John Cena was down 2-1 and single-handedly buried the Nexus that night. And that's pretty much, nobody could take him seriously after that. So John Cena single-handedly killed the Nexus. And I think it's a shame because I think that group had a lot of potential, some early days NWO type potential. But again, Cena must pose, man. It was tragic. But back to Fastlane. We start off the pay-per-view proper with the women's tag team title match. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler defeating Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks in just under 10 minutes. Hyper Productions, welcome to the chat, my friend. EWW says here, Nexus is one of the biggest letdowns in history. Yes, I totally agree. I think there could have been a lot more with Nexus, but they dropped the ball. Cena killed Nexus, and you couldn't really do much with them else. Salman says here, I don't know how they are going to bring the Nexus back because Ryback hates WD now and the rest of them are doing well in the indie scene. I agree. I don't think, Salman, anymore that there's any more talk of Nexus returning, at least not that I've seen or read. I know that was supposed to have been a part of something at last year's WrestleMania, and when several of them found out that's what it was for, they declined. They declined to make that kind of return. So maybe one day we'll see some of those members back. Wade Barrett is back with the company and doing a great job as commentator on NXT. I think he's feeling wonderful for Nigel McGuinness. I miss Nigel McGuinness commentating on NXT, but I think Wade Barrett has filled in quite nicely. And Hyper Productions, man, Cena killed Bray Wyatt as well. Yes, he did. That's another topic for another time. We could go down a long rabbit hole of people who John Cena single-handedly buried in the business. Back to the Fastlane. Nia and Shayna beat Bianca and Sasha. Reginald got involved. It was ridiculous. The big old Mamma Mia! I miss Mauro Ranallo. That's all I'm going to say on that. Up next on Fastlane, we have Big E defeating Apollo Crews for the Intercontinental Championship, successfully retaining the belt in just under 6 minutes. This match was kind of a letdown, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that this is going to lead to a rematch at WrestleMania where we get a proper long match. These guys, they're beefy boys slapping meat, which seems to be the new saying of this podcast. That might have to turn into a shirt. Beefy boys slapping meat. Let's talk about Triple H burying people. Yes, they shouldn't have done that kind of ruin. I agree. It's all bad. We'll We'll bring that up in the long form one. Maybe we'll do a special stream, go long form into some of these fun topics. Then we get Braun Strowman defeating Elias in under 4 minutes. Now, the match was originally supposed to be with Shane McMahon, but Shane had just happened to have a knee injury while training for the match. Elias took his place and took the L. We're going to talk about Braun a little bit more when I get to Raw here in a few minutes, because I've got a lot to say about that. At this point, this is where the pay-per-view gets really, really good as far as in-ring work. Because next we get Seth Rollins defeating Shinsuke Nakamura in about 13 minutes. This is definitely setting up Seth versus Cesaro at WrestleMania. I'd love to see them make this a triple threat with Shinsuke. I think the match will just be off the chain, even if it's just Seth and Cesaro. Cesaro, again, one of the most underrated and underutilized people in WWE. He should have been a world champion by now. But unfortunately, that hasn't been the case. Great match. I love it. I'd love to see more Seth and Shinsuke. Then we get Drew McIntyre defeating Sheamus in about 20 minutes in a no-holds-barred match. They wrestled all over the building, up into the Thunderdome screens. The crazy bump through the screens by Sheamus. Even on the live stream, I did not enjoy it because I wasn't invested in it, because I knew Drew was going to go on to face Lashley at WrestleMania. There were no real stakes in this match. Nothing was at stake. Sleeping Collectibles, welcome to the live stream, friend. Glad you were able to hop in for a minute. We are running down Fastlane from Sunday. Then we get the interesting intergender match. Now, I kind of called that this was going to be interesting. Oh, let's going to jump back to the chat real quick. If they didn't bury Braun, I think he could have won the Universal title like 4 times and become the new Cena. I'll hold off on my comments on Braun when we get to it later. Sleeping Collectible, Sheamus for world champion. What's up, fella? I want to be WWE champion. I love Sheamus. I've been a huge Sheamus fan for a long time. He has not been on the best as far as winning streak. He has had a very good record lately. But the one good thing about Sheamus, and I'll say this, he's been losing matches left and right. And actually, let's look that up. I'm curious. We're going to do a live stat checkup because he was on Raw, so this should show up. Okay. So the last match Sheamus won was on Raw February 22nd. He is on a 5-match losing streak. He is not, I mean, he won the match February 22nd. He beat Drew in the gauntlet match February 15th, the week before. He beat John Morrison back in January. Won a tag match with Keith Lee over Miz and Morrison. But realistically, he has had a pretty big losing record. Let's see. Let me catch back up with the chat. I'm not used to having such an active chat during the podcast. So I'm used to talking to maybe 1 or 2 people. We got a lively crowd in here tonight, and I absolutely love it. Go back to Salman here. If Tyson Kidd returned, I would love to see Davey Boy Smith return because the rumors are saying Davey might return. Yes, the last I heard, Harry Smith, Davey Boy Smith Jr., rumored innuendo is that he would be making a WWE return sometime soon. He had been working in New Japan for a while as D.H. Smith. He was D.H. Smith in WWE. I'd love to see him back. Tyson Kidd, unfortunately, I think his in-ring career could be over, but you could still put Harry with Natty, and I mean, you could always go down some of the other roads. I mean, Brian Pillman Jr. is with AEW, so he's kind of out of there for like a second-generation Hart Foundation. Sleeping Collectibles, me too. I wish he'd have one more run. Guy works hard. If you've never seen Sheamus's workout routines, I think it's on his YouTube channel. I can't remember the name of it, but he does these CrossFit workouts that are absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. EWW says, I don't really like him. I know sacrifice me to the devil himself. It's okay, man. Like I said, everything's subjective. Davey is one of the most underrated wrestlers ever. I agree. The Hart Dynasty was underrated tag team. Yes, they were. I thought they were really good. And Chris in the chat, Davey just did Bloodsport. I forget Bloodsport is a thing. I honestly forget that Bloodsport is a thing. Chris will be on the show next Monday for the 3rd anniversary special. Slapping meats. I'll just leave it at that. But back to the Fastlane preview. Got 2 matches to run down. I kind of predicted this. There wouldn't really be a match. It ended up, it says Mox won. Okay. So I guess Davey Jr. and Mox had a match at Bloodsport. When was Bloodsport? That was, I thought they usually did that like WrestleMania weekend. Mox versus Barnett. That should be an interesting one. Moxley versus Josh Barnett. Because it's now Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. It was Matt Riddle's Bloodsport. I know, Chris, I'm sure you'll be able to tell me who was it before Riddle? Because it's Josh Barnett, then it was Riddle's before him, and there was one other person before that, I believe. I don't remember who that was. But Alexa shoots some fireballs, had a lighting rig fall from the ceiling, and then we get some flames, a hand coming up from under the ring. The Fiend comes out, grabs Randy Orton, hits his sister Abigail, and then Alexa Bliss straddles him for the pin in just under 5 minutes. And then we get the main event. And I hate to say I called it, but I called it. Edge was going to get involved and cost Daniel Bryan the match. But it was a great match. 30 minutes. 30-minute match. Absolutely insane. Roman Reigns ends up retaining. Edge was a special enforcer. And now the rumor and innuendo is that it is going to be made a triple threat match for WrestleMania. I'm sure we'll get some more on that this Friday on SmackDown. Joey Janelle, thank you. I knew you would know who that would be. All right, Chechen back up on the chat. It's Game Changer Wrestling. Okay, thank you. Personally hate Alexa and the Fiend story. It's so boring. I haven't been the biggest fan of it, but I don't hate it. I think that during the pandemic with no fans in attendance, they needed to do something to kind of draw attention. And once fans are back in the building, they're not going to be able to do this hocus pocus stuff. So I'm hoping that after WrestleMania, we are going to get back to some more grounded storylines, because they won't be able to do these pre-tape matches with a live crowd there in attendance. It's just like pew fireball, black creepy stuff. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I talked about this the other night. It's so, they did it right with Papa Shango and Ultimate Warrior back in the 80s. That's how you do that black viscous liquid the right way. But we're going to step away for just a minute. I've got a special treat for you guys, because I honestly had forgotten this was in the vault. And it's going to go uploaded to the YouTube channel as soon as this stream is over tonight. I got a brand new wrestling figure unboxing for you guys. And it is none other than my little dog pockets, the one and only freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy AEW Unrivaled Series 3 figure unboxing. I'm going to go to this video, chat amongst yourselves. I hope you enjoy it. We'll be back in just a few minutes. We're going to run down what's coming up as far as we know for WrestleMania. They have started announcing what matches are going on which nights. And there's some matches that don't have a night announced, and we're going to predict some of the matches coming up. So we're going to take this quick break. Smash the like button on this video if you haven't done so already. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. See you here in just a minute. What is good, YouTube? Kyle here from Wrestling with Fans, back with another figure unboxing video. And today we have Pockets himself, Orange Cassidy, AEW Unrivaled Series 3. Super excited to find him in the wild. When I found him, he was the only AEW figure on the peg. So I'm not sure why someone would have left Orange Cassidy and taken everybody else, but you know, I'm not going to complain. Orange Cassidy is one of the figures in this wave that I really wanted to get. So let's take a look at the packaging. Again, the AEW Unrivaled packaging is amazing. Got AEW with the gold E on this side. AEW over here. He is number 21 in all of the Unrivaled collection. This is Series 3. Let's take a look at the back here. His outfit is from Dynamite, June 24th, 2020. You can see the others in this wave. You got Pac, Riho, Darby Allin, and Matt and Nick Jackson. Awesome wave here. I do have the Bucks. I've got Darby. Passed on Riho before. I don't really like the figure too much, but Darby and Riho are the chases in this wave, if you're on the lookout for those. But you know how we do. I really want to break this figure down because I love the technology in this figure. And you know how we do. We're going to let him breathe. Let's crack Orange Cassidy open right now. And just like that, there we have it. Orange Cassidy out of his plastic prison. Let's take a look at the accessories first. Does have his other pocket hand. Go on that sign there. Does come with two, consider those mic holding hands. He does have one pocket hand on here, and he does have the Orange Cassidy kind of slacker thumbs up there. He does come with sunglasses, which these do seem to fit pretty good on his head. Some little aviators there, pretty cool. Let's take a look at the face scan. I think this captures his lightness pretty well. Really blue eyes for Orange Cassidy. Does really look like him. I'm sure we'll get plenty more Orange Cassidy figures in the future. He does also come with a soft goods jacket. Now the thing with this jacket and t-shirt combo is that you pop the Velcro right here, and the shirt and jacket are all one piece. So if you want to pose him in just a t-shirt, you have to get it separately. I think Threadheads makes this Orange Cassidy shirt, and I'm pretty sure they make a jacket too. But I'm sure if you wanted, you could probably just remove the stitching on the jacket, probably just pop those stitches there, and you still have the soft goods jacket it comes with. Let's take this off to see if there's anything else about the figure here. Oh wow, that's really, really loose one. That's looser than I've seen on other reviews of this figure. But the technology with this is pretty cool. You know, he does have the ankle pivot. He does have another ankle pivot here. He does have a little bit of thigh rotation, but due to the pants, it's a little hard to do that. So what they do, you kind of see in there, they do have like the blue color to the jeans, but the pants itself, the top half from the knee up, is all like a loose rubber, kind of what you find in like your jacket accessories, which allows put the hands in his pockets. Now we'll take a look here. I don't know who came up with this idea as far as using this kind of technology for this figure, but it was pure genius. And I think his arm's actually upside down. No wonder it looked weird. Okay, there we go. Looks pretty good. The only thing, the only small gripe I have is I wish the pockets were a little on the sides of the figure there, but still allows for, you know, the classic Orange Cassidy, hands in pockets. So cool. It's just pure genius the way they did it. And then you have the kind of the torn jeans effect here with his one black knee pad popping through. Just got his little sneakers on there, the jeans. And again, this is kind of like a rubber like you'd find with like your jacket and shirt accessories. But it's kind of put around to make loose little slits to put in the pockets. This is definitely one of the coolest figures that has come out in recent memory, and I'm super excited to have him here in the collection. Alright guys, so there you have it. AEW Unrivaled Series 3 Orange Cassidy, now in the collection. Again, one of the coolest figures that is out there. Just the whole pants thing with the pockets. I love how they came up with that idea. Makes it a very, very unique figure. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a big old fat thumbs up, or Orange Cassidy thumbs up. And if you want to see more content from Wrestling with Fans, click that subscribe button. If you want to be notified anytime we post new content or anytime we do a live stream, click that bell and set notifications to always. Thank you guys for watching. Once again, my name is Kyle. This is the Wrestling with Fans, and we will see you guys in the next video. What's up, guys? If you enjoyed that, Hyper Productions, you know the rule. You don't cross the line. Come on, man. Don't cross the line. Shouting out MD Toys. EWW, if you want to check it out, I posted his channel during that video, Sleeping Collectibles. One of the coolest dudes I've met on YouTube. He's actually somewhat local to me. He lives about an hour and a half, 2 hours away west. And does a big toy channel. He does live streams a lot. I know he won't be. He's getting ready to head to Disney this weekend, him and his fiance. So I don't know when his next giveaway will be, but he does a lot of giveaways. Awesome community. Several people that are in this chat are like Downfall Wrestling, TEW Wrestling, who was in here the other night. I met all those guys through Sleeping Collectibles chat. Awesome community. Go check him out. His channel's in there. And if you haven't checked out everybody else who's been in the chat tonight, I've posted all of your channels as well. Show you guys some love. Back here, MDT outro music plays yet. You crossed the line. I love MD Toys. Such fun videos. Such high energy. I love his stuff. Sama says here, Mikey Whipwreck versus Steve Austin is a very underrated match in Stone Cold's career. It shaped his gimmick. Mikey Whipwreck's pretty underrated, in my opinion. EC Dub, OG, Mikey Whipwreck. Love me some Mikey Whipwreck. All right, so let's move on to the last major topic we have here for tonight. So what I think we'll do is we will talk about WrestleMania. I'll officially end the podcast portion of the show. And then maybe I'll stick around. We'll do a little chat for a little bit. A little post-show action. But WrestleMania is a 2-night event taking place April 10th and April 11th from Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida, with the tagline, Back in Business. It says here, yeah, I bet he says just by accident sometimes, Brad. Dude, his videos are hilarious. I love watching MD Toys. He's one of my favorite YouTube creators that I've been following for a while. I just watched his video on the best chase variants in the Mattel history, in the Mattel line. Fun video. If you haven't checked it out, check out his channel. He's doing really good. So back to WrestleMania. We've got 8 matches currently announced. And up until last night's Raw, actually, I didn't even talk about Raw. I'll hit Raw after this. We'll talk Raw after this. I'm skipping around my own rundown sheet here. I just completely skipped over Raw, but we'll talk Raw. Because the way I have it written, I goofed. Let me fix that in my official show notes. All right, but we'll jump back to Raw. Actually, no, we'll start Raw first because Raw's going to lead into what I want to talk about for WrestleMania. Dang it, right. Why did you cross the line? You don't cross the line. That's just end of story. Raw last night was And I only have a couple notes. I'll make this kind of quick. We'll run down the results, and I'll talk about my few notes here. Lashley defeated Sheamus in an opening match. It was going on as I finished the live stream last night. 2 beefy boys, slapping me. Solid match. Lashley tapping out Sheamus to the Hurt Lock in 11 and a half minutes. We get Asuka taking on Peyton Royce in a pretty competitive match. I was really surprised they were given this much time. Asuka wins in 11 minutes. But post-match, this is where my first note comes in. So we get the debut of Rhea Ripley last night. EW says the Raw is never really that good. It hasn't been for a while. I was a big defender of Raw throughout a lot of last year when Heyman was in charge. When Paul Heyman was running Raw, I actually enjoyed Raw. Even though the numbers didn't show it, Paul Heyman led Raw was actually kind of good. I kind of enjoy it. So I couldn't afford to watch Raw because I can't afford TV cable because I do some of it's all right. You're not missing a lot. But there's always YouTube. You can always go to the WWE YouTube channel. They post clips of everything that happens so you don't miss anything. Plus, you can join me on Tuesdays where I talk about Raw, but you're not really missing a lot. But we get Rhea Ripley come out. It looked like we were heading to an Asuka versus Charlotte match at WrestleMania for the Raw Women's title, but saw Charlotte testing positive for COVID, which is weird because if she should be in the clear as of Friday the 26th, that's still 2 weeks away from WrestleMania. Plenty of time to build. A match like Asuka versus Charlotte doesn't need a lot of build because it's Charlotte and Asuka. But Rhea comes out, cuts a promo, puts over Asuka, and then she gets a title match because reasons. No build, no nothing. She challenges, she accepts. We get Rhea Ripley versus Asuka at WrestleMania in a couple weeks. Moving along. Then we get a lot of stuff with The Miz and Bad Bunny. The Miz defeats Jeff Hardy in 4 minutes. I don't know why they needed to put The Miz over Jeff Hardy here to make The Miz look strong to kind of pump him up because he's going to be wrestling a celebrity. The rumor was, and a lot of people were predicting that it was going to be Miz and John Morrison versus Bad Bunny and Damian Priest. Well, as of this recording, it is just now The Miz versus Bad Bunny. We'll touch on that when I get to WrestleMania. Kofi and AJ Styles. Kofi wins in about 14 minutes. And we need more Kofi versus AJ Styles. I know this is going into the tag team match at WrestleMania, but I would love to see these guys run back a singles feud for a while. Kofi and AJ, give me more of that. I want more Kofi and AJ. Then we get, I guess I'll jump back to some of the backstage stuff earlier in the night. Bobby Lashley gets pissed off at Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander for trying to help during his match with Sheamus. MVP says Lashley doesn't need their help. And then he turns around and says that, then we get this match. We get a handicap match. I'm kind of bouncing around here a little too much. We get the handicap match, which was next on Raw. Drew McIntyre defeats Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander in 13 minutes. The match was good, but this was a Braun Strowman kind of match. Drew McIntyre single-handedly defeating one of the top teams on Raw and the former Raw Tag Team Champions. So Drew McIntyre just buried the former Raw Tag Team Champions. Not literally bury, but in the eyes of fans, these guys just came off of a tag team title run, and now they're losing to the former WWE Champion. Does it make them look good? And since they couldn't get the job done, Lashley didn't want their help earlier, but he will go to the 24/7 squad and ask and try to hire one of them to take out Drew McIntyre before WrestleMania. So Bobby Lashley logic here. The former Raw Tag Team Champions cannot defeat Drew McIntyre. But you think any of the guys who chase around the 24/7 championship stand a snowball's chance in hell? Because I have a feeling over the next 2 weeks, we're going to see the likes of Akira Tozawa, maybe a Drew Gulak, R-Truth. Somebody is going to step up and face Drew and get completely murdered in about 30 seconds. It's going to be like Claymore pin, 5-second match. I don't know. It doesn't make much sense. Like you turn away your stablemates. They're again teasing the breakup of the Hurt Business, which I'm not a fan of. But it is what it is. And then we get another women's tag match. Nia and Shayna defeat Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose in less than 3 minutes. So once again, Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose get a tag team title shot and are quickly beaten by the women's tag team champions. Lana and Naomi were sitting ringside, so it looks like they may be setting up another match for them at WrestleMania. But it's kind of a moot point because Lana and Naomi also got beat by the women's tag team champions in pretty convincing fashion a few weeks ago. I don't understand WWE's logic with the women's tag division. And finally, Well, not finally, I guess, but the main event match. There was a segment after this, but the main event match saw Braun Strowman defeat Elias in 3 minutes. And new for Braun Strowman, when he does his little chugga chugga train thing around the ring, and I got to sit back for this one. Braun Strowman now has train sound effects when he charges people outside of the ring. I think this might be the dumbest thing WWE has done. Because when crowds are back, are they really going to play train sound effects? And then in the main event segment, the Fiend calls out, or Randy Orton calls out the Fiend. He appears. Randy acts like he's going to douse him with gasoline, set him on fire again, only for Alexa Bliss to come in the ring. Orton turns around after RKOing the Fiend, catches the mandible claw, and then eats his sister Abigail to end the show. And then Alexa points at the sign because it's sign pointing season, guys. You got to point harder. And that was Monday Night Raw. Let's jump back in the chat, see what I have missed here. They should make it the real had good run NXT, but NXT's title. Yes, agree. Perk Angle because he takes a Percocet drugs. That's not very. That's funny, but it's not funny. Does anybody remember the Hardy Bros, Jeff and Matt? Yeah, I don't remember. They didn't do much. Should have done something. They were a tag team for all of about like 2 or 3 weeks. And I think it was more just a shot at Matt Hardy and AEW than anything. And everybody questioned, why did I lose 2 subs? Okay, here's what I don't get about YouTube. I'm gonna break away from wrestling for about 2 minutes. Earlier today, it showed that I was at 65 subs on there's the YouTube channel and then there's YouTube Studio. YouTube Studio is where I post the videos, where I get to look at all my channel analytics to see how long people are watching videos, subscribers, the reach, the engagement, all that fun stuff. So, but it's been behind because the other day it showed in Studio that I was at 63, but the channel showed 61. Then earlier today, last night, it showed on the channel 63, but Studio 65. Now it's showing 63 at YouTube Studio and 61 on the channel. I don't know what is the right number. So hopefully I haven't driven off 2 people because I think the channel's been growing pretty good in the last 3 days. Thanks to you guys in the chat. I'm completely humbled by the support you guys have shown in the last couple weeks, and I'm glad you guys are along for the ride. And I am glad you guys are here on the ground level as this channel starts to grow, kicking off 2020. Yes, YouTube is drunk as F. I don't get it, but it's cool because 3 days ago was it like 46 or 47 subs. So if I lose a couple along the way, it is all good. I'm not sweating it right now. I'm just gonna brush it off the shoulder. We're gonna keep grinding videos, keep doing the good here on the channel. Back to where I had originally got to before I kind of got off track. WrestleMania 37. April 9th and 10th, or excuse me, April 10th and 11th from Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. Back in business. Tickets are now on sale. One of my friends is actually going. I don't know which night he's going to, but I know he is going to WrestleMania. And I'm getting a notification from an hour ago that I am live on YouTube. Yes, I know. Thank you, YouTube. You're drunk. But we have some announcements of where some of these matches are. That red backlight looks like pornish. I want it to be blue, but blue doesn't show up because, the whole podcast has got that blue motif. And I tried to do red and blue like Raw and SmackDown with yellow down the middle. I'm going to work on this backdrop. So right now you just kind of get to see my room mess around. I'm still working on the setup, but we'll get that fixed. Alts, my other subs are unsubbing because you used to vlogs. Sometimes when you change video styles, that can happen. This channel has always been, live streams and wrestling figures, and I've tried to branch out in other wrestling content, but I'm trying to keep it all wrestling related. I want to be the catch all for all things wrestling. And Jen, thank you coming in. Red light special, yes. Especially if I change the overhead light, because I've got an LED light in the ceiling. I've got my key lights here. I've got another key light behind me shining the red, and I've got another little accent lamp over here shining red on that side. So I've got plenty of RGB. Oh, I don't even have my RGB strips in front of me turned on. The black and gold. Well, Chris, what I wanted to do is do red for Raw, blue for SmackDown, and then the middle be yellow for NXT and AEW. That was the idea, to try to catch all the colors of all the big brands and have a cool backdrop. So hopefully I can get that sorted out in the next couple weeks and keep updating the stream, the setup here. Steven Kip's here, man. Thanks YouTube giving me a notification for the stream. Yeah, I got mine a little bit late. Yeah, my email just came through from an hour ago. All right, Monday Night Raw or Monday Night Raw, WrestleMania. You guys got me confused. I'm still trying to get used to having so many people in chat. I'm used to having maybe one or two people in here. So having all you guys in here is a lot of fun, and it's a learning process. We now know what matches are happening on what nights. So as of now, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I think it turned out pretty good. I want to clean it up. Jen doesn't want me to, but I want to put a little bookshelf here, a white bookshelf where I can put some figs and other stuff on it, and then shine a light up on it, and then maybe put a clean backdrop in the middle. But if we ever get to buy a house here soon, we're gonna have a nice little room set up. But for now, I think it kind of works. I like having the depth behind me. It makes me pop off the screen a little bit more. YouTube drank too much Dizzy juice. Yes, I agree. If you're listening to the audio show this, you're missing out on the live streams. If you can catch us every Tuesday night on YouTube, 8 p.m. Eastern, these streams are turning into a lot of fun in the last week. Thanks to everybody who joins it, man. I love you guys. You guys are a lot of fun. Well, right now, night one, April 10th, Saturday, day one of WrestleMania. We have 3 confirmed matches as of right now. Bobby Lashley defending the WWE Championship against Drew McIntyre will main event night one. Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander are now banned from ringside. We are also going to get Sasha Banks defending the SmackDown Women's Championship against the EST of WWE, Bianca Belair. EWW, no worries, friend. Thank you for joining in. We'll catch you on the next stream. I'll be back tomorrow night at 7:30 for my Dynamite and NXT preview show. And the final match confirmed so far for night one, Bad Bunny with Damian Priest versus The Miz with John Morrison. Now, I'm still hoping that this ends up turning into a tag match. There's still a couple weeks of build on Raw to make this a tag match. They've set Damian Priest up in a really good spot. And some people don't see it that way, but I believe Damian Priest is in a really good spot here. He's winning matches consistently on Raw. He's put in a prominent position, and he is being partnered with the most downloaded recording artist in the world right now. Bad Bunny is like the most streamed person on Spotify in 2020, and Damian Priest has been by his side the entire way. So if they don't put him in this match, I think you're doing a disservice to the work that Damian Priest has done since the Royal Rumble. And I'm really hoping this turns into a tag match. He is able to get some shine on the grandest stage of all at WrestleMania. But we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, again, like I said, we have 2 weeks to build to maybe turn this into a tag match. So we just talked Raw, and now we're running down what matches are on what night of WrestleMania this year. And on night 2, Sunday, April 11th, the main event will be Roman Reigns defending the Blue Universal title against the Rated R Superstar Edge. Now, again, we've talked about it earlier, and I talked about this on Sunday night during the Fastlane stream, that I fully expect this to be a triple threat match. Dave Meltzer, good old Uncle Dave over at Wrestling Observer, is saying that is the new plan going forward, It's going to be Roman versus Edge versus Daniel Bryan, but that hasn't officially been announced. So as of this recording, it's still Roman versus Edge, but I expect that to change in the next 2 weeks, probably this Friday on SmackDown. Also, we are getting Asuka defending the Raw Women's Championship against Rhea Ripley. That match was just made official on Raw this week. And also made official on Raw this week, Night 2 on Sunday, April 11th. The Fiend taking on the Viper one-on-one. There's no stipulation added yet, so I don't know if this is going to be a live in-ring match or if this will be something similar to what we got last year with the Firefly Funhouse match, some type of cinematic match. I'm sure we'll pick up on that over the next couple weeks. And finally, there are 2 other matches that have not been announced for either night, but we know they are happening at WrestleMania. The aforementioned Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon. We don't know what night that's going to take place on. And we also don't know what night the Raw Tag Team Championship match will take place on. The New Day defending the belts against AJ Styles and Omos. But again, we got 2 weeks to go. We've only got 8 matches announced. With what they are charging for WrestleMania each night, I don't know where his tickets are, but Jason, I think he said he paid $350 for his ticket for WrestleMania. So I'm hoping they give these guys their money worth and add a couple matches to each night. I'm pretty sure we're going to get a men's battle royal, the Andre the Giant battle royal one night. We'll get the women's battle royal the other night. We'll probably get a U.S. title match. It's looking like it could be Sheamus and Matt Riddle one-on-one for the U.S. title after their encounter at Raw last night. I expect Big E and Apollo to have a rematch for the IC title on one of the nights. You saw the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Those will get defended. They'll be on there one night. So there's still opportunity, but again, we're 2 weeks away from WrestleMania. I think I have a figure of most of the WM match card. It's pretty easy to predict after Raw this week, and I'm sure SmackDown will make it even more obvious. And then I expect next Monday on Raw, we'll get even more official matches announced. So you kind of guess where some of these are going, but again, 2 weeks is not a lot of time to build. And to be perfectly honest, it doesn't even feel like WrestleMania season. I'd feel so let down this year. Even last year with the pandemic, it still felt like WrestleMania. It was a weird WrestleMania, but it felt like WrestleMania. This year doesn't feel like WrestleMania. And that could be, Vince changing his mind, ripping up the entire WrestleMania card and starting over from scratch a couple weeks ago. I'm hoping WWE does something special because we're getting fans back in attendance at WrestleMania. And that's what a lot of people have wanted for over a year now. Fans back in attendance. We're going to get it at WrestleMania. And another quick note, I forgot to add this during the news portion of the show, but apparently WWE will be leaving the Thunderdome after next week's TV shows. So they are going to be pre-taping the go-home editions of Raw and SmackDown for the week before WrestleMania. And they are moving to the Yuengling Center, the University of Florida, for going forward. Now, whether fans will be in attendance or not, I don't know. Hyper production, no Taker, no true WrestleMania. I agree. This will be the first post-Undertaker retirement WrestleMania. I'm the biggest Undertaker fan. At least I call myself that. I'm a huge mark for Mark Calloway. It feels weird because we're going to have no Undertaker, seemingly no Brock Lesnar, no Triple H, no Rock. There's rumors Rock versus Roman was going to be at WrestleMania this year. Now the rumors are next year when WrestleMania goes Hollywood. Or is it 2 years from now when WrestleMania goes Hollywood? Whatever that is. They're missing out on a lot of big names. And this is another topic, a long-form topic, so I don't want to go too far into it because we're running long here. WWE has not built up a lot of stars. I've talked about this on the podcast quite a bit in the last year. They do not allow anybody to grow more than the brand itself. The WWE brand is more important than making stars. And the only stars that have been created in the last 10 years, the fans forced upon them. First and foremost, Daniel Bryan leading into WrestleMania 30. The fans forced their hand. And then 2 years ago, when Becky Lynch started her fire run, the fans forced their hand on Becky Lynch. WWE has so much talent, more talent than they know what to do with, and they're still signing people. I think some of it, though, is they're signing to keep them away from AEW, which is kind of petty, but, it's all about business. So I kind of get it, but I think it's kind of stupid because you're signing these guys up and you're not doing anything with them. I talked about this the other night. I mean, Andrade hadn't been used. Aleister Black's MIA. A lot of these guys who have so much potential just aren't being used. Hyper says here, no Big Farmer Brock, no Dead Man, no Triple H. This is like a normal Raw match. Drew. Salma says, yep, that's true. No Taker, no WrestleMania. It's going to be weird. He went out on a high note last year with the Boneyard match. I was hoping we maybe would get one more cinematic match, but alas, the Dead Man has earned his long overdue retirement. But that, my friends, is going to wrap up the podcast. Let me run down all the fun stuff, and we'll get out of here. We live stream 4 nights a week here on YouTube. Mondays at 7:30 to 8 p.m. Eastern for the Raw preview. Tuesdays, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern till around 9 p.m. Eastern, a little after. It's a live stream of the recording of the Wrestling with Fans podcast. Wednesdays at 7:30 to 8 p.m. Eastern. It is the Wednesday Night War preview. AEW Dynamite and NXT. Then on Friday, 7:30 to 8 p.m. Eastern, it is the SmackDown preview. But again, if NXT moves to Tuesdays, we'll move that preview show to Tuesday and the podcast will move to Thursday. But we haven't gotten any announcements yet, so stay tuned. We'll see what goes on there. Follow us across social media. Check out the website, wrestlingwithfans.com. New audio shows are posted every Thursday morning. You can download or stream the shows at any time on our website. Or you can take us on the go and download us to your favorite podcast listening device. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Stitcher. Wherever you get your podcast fix, just search Wrestling with Fans Podcast. If you're listening to the audio show, because if you're watching the live recording, you're already on YouTube, you're probably already subscribed. Head over to youtube.com, search Wrestling with Fans Podcast, click the blue logo, and then click that subscribe button. You can follow us on Instagram at Wrestling with Fans. You can shoot us an email if you can't join us live, wwfshow@gmail.com. If you want to buy a shirt, Wrestling with Fans merch over at wrestlingwithfans.com/shop. Links to everything is in the video description of this YouTube video, and links to everything will also be in the audio description wherever you get your podcast fix. And also, don't forget, next Monday, March the 29th, it is the 3rd anniversary special of the Wrestling with Fans podcast. We recorded the very first episode of this podcast March 29th, 2018. Myself and Bobby and a different Chris that's in here in the chat. 3-man show for one night. Then it went to a 2-man, and then we've been all over the board ever since. But myself, my OG tag team partner Bobby will be joining me. Chris will be joining me. Jason will be joining me. And my wonderful girlfriend Jennifer will be joining me. All of these wonderful folks have been former co-hosts and contributed to the 3-year longevity of the show. So we're going to just get together. We may chat some wrestling. We may chat some other stuff. We'll probably get the video banned, knowing how we are when we all get together. And thank you, Hyper Productions. Happy birthday to us. This coming Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern. So next Monday, I may come on early at like 7 o'clock and do my Raw preview from 7 to 7:30. And then come back at 8 for the live show. Or I may just do the live show at 8. And we'll just skip the Raw preview for next week. We'll see how things go. I haven't made my mind up completely. I'll make sure I let you guys know sometime later this week. So that is going to do it for this week's episode of the Wrestling with Fans podcast. Shout out to all of you wonderful people in the live chat over on YouTube. If you're not watching live on YouTube, you are missing out. Before we go, if you haven't done so already, give the video a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, click that subscribe button for more fun wrestling content. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. For those watching live, I'm going to stay on YouTube for a few more minutes after we end the stream, so just hang tight. After I finish the recording, we'll chat for a little while longer. But that's going to do it for this week's episode. I will see you guys next time right here on Wrestling with Fans. Oh, oops. I'm gonna cut that off. All right, we started live on YouTube, guys. We got 8 people in the video, in the chat. What is good, everybody? Thank you all for making such a fun show. Hyper, Solmit, EWW, Chris, my boy Chris, Jen, Sleeping, I seen you were in here earlier. Downfall, you were in here earlier. Thank y'all for hopping in and joining for a little while. I think I got everybody. DJ Plays, I seen you in here earlier. It was a fun stream, man. Fun stream. Anything y'all want to talk about? I'll stay live for a few more minutes, but luckily Wednesdays I work my second job. I'm off on my main job, but I work my second job, but I don't have to go in as early. So I can stay up and chat a little bit later on Tuesday nights. Oh, I guess I can show this off. So went into my local Walmart looking for some wrestling figs. I finally filmed some more fig hunt stuff. I haven't really filmed much fig hunting lately because there really hasn't been much to hunt. But I did go into one of my 2 local Walmarts. They did have the new battle packs, which is cool. They have Booker T, Bobby Lashley, Triple H, and The Rock, which I thought about picking up just to do a Triple H head swap on one of the Triple H's that I have. And then the Randy Orton John Cena 2-pack, which is a pretty cool 2-pack. But for the first time in the wild, in a long time, there was Star Wars figures. So I picked up, and this light is I'm gonna cut that light off. So now you might not be able to see it as good, but here, let me try this. I turn the light away a little bit, but we got Baby Grogu, the child. He is very, very tiny. It's the Kenner throwbacks. He's got his little pod. He's got his little frog. These little 3 3/4 inch figures, the new ones. They also had a Princess Leia, Zatan. There was a Boba Fett there. I didn't pick up Boba Fett. And so I picked up the child. And also, I don't know if she's still in here, but Jennifer, my wonderful, amazing girlfriend, after leaving work and having physical therapy, she stopped at the Target near where she worked. And there was a WrestleMania shipper. And she picked up, hi, honey. She picked me up Bill Goldberg with the Blue Universal title. I don't even really want Goldberg. I just want the belt. But I'll take another Old Man Goldberg to put in the collection. And I'll be able to finally put a Blue Universal title on Roman Reigns. Hyper, can you check out my channel on stream? Yes, I actually can do that. Hang on, let me find. Give me a second here. What did you want me to pull up? I can pull up something on chat. Because I can do. Let's see here. Window capture. We'll do this. All right, so let's switch over. I'm gonna do a little. Let me move this over here. This is why I love a 2-monitor setup. I don't know what I would do without 2 monitors. Well, you know what? You posted a brand new video today. Action Figure Showcase Episode 1. Let me turn on the desktop audio.
What is up, guys? Hyper Productions here, and we are here for the first episode of the series of Action Figure Showcase.
So, Hyper, here you go, man. We'll play one of your videos here live on stream for you.
So, today, guys, we have 4 customs. It's going to be the whole running change in this whole series. There'll be 4 customs, and I'm going to show you how to make them and what parts you need. So, let's get into
I'll turn my camera off so you guys can see everything.
So, here's the first one. This is a Buddy Murphy, created using a Chris Jericho figure. It kind of had the red logos. It says Jericho there. He was in some of my action figure surgery videos. And these arms are from the Me figure, which would be just a Dean Ambrose basic. The hand is from a Cesaro.
I'll do SFW wrestling animations as soon as we're done with this.
Elbow pad is from a AJ Styles. The head is from a basic John Cena. You can find those anywhere. And I sculpted on some hair of polymer clay and did a nice paint job around the whole thing. Didn't want to actually make the things floppy, so I just painted them straight on there. I think it looks pretty solid. You guys can make that yourself if you don't want to buy a Buddy Murphy. And here, guys, we have a Kenny Omega fix-up. So here we have, guys, it's a Silver Sting basic. It was around the.
So I'm gonna add you to my list. Your SFW animations.
Some black elbow pads from
to my list
any figure
of channels to
you can
shout
find
out.
them. And
I forgot you had said you
this
had a
Daniel
second
Bryan head sculpt. I don't know if this is
channel.
rare or not. If you guys can find this, there's one with a shorter beard. It works as well. I did not paint it, but yeah. We got some black knee pads on here. Came from, any figure you can find as well. And some black boots from a Randy Orton. I know that because I took them off.
Am
and some
oh yeah, it might be
hair,
echoing.
same as that Buddy Murphy, with kind of some designs.
Oops, that's not what I want. I want that.
So
there we go.
All these parts we have right here is necessarily some knee pads, some boots from a Randy Orton, a head sculpt from a Daniel Bryan, and some clay and some elbow pads. So that really pays off, and this is my
Forgot my mic is picking up the audio because I don't have headphones in. So I'm going to mute my mic for a minute while this video finishes
up. We have
up.
a Johnny Gargano basic. This was created with a Finn Balor basic, one of the older ones, still has that head sculpt on it. I think it looked pretty much like Johnny Gargano from the original. I just painted on a beard, fixed it up a bit, painted on the hair. Looks pretty much like Johnny from now, except for some bits on the sides. These arms are from a Jericho, specifically the one over there. I made into a Buddy Murphy. And these knee pads are from the same Jericho as well. And then I kind of just painted on these designs. I think it looks pretty good. Got the little face on his knee pad. If you guys have the right equipment, I used some paint markers for this. And yeah, I kind of just use normal paint for the head, but that is my Johnny Gargano, and I think it's pretty solid, so if you guys want to create this, that's how you can. And here, guys, for the final guy here, we finally finished this Ryback. If you guys kind of watched the tutorial video I made on the channel already, you know what this is made out of, but because it's a series of how to make the figure and showcasing it, I'm going to tell you anyways. This is created out of a entrance grates Kurt Angle and a basic Ryback. I recycled the arms and head from that basic Ryback. We had a little accident with the neck peg, but we did fix it then. He was in some of the videos I made. Yeah, then we acetone off the torso stuff. Thank you to Wrestler Boy Jr. for telling me not to do that, because it's not good. Don't do that either. So I painted over it, made it look a bit nice. Put on this R with a paint marker as well. some black elite boots. We did that on the Action Figure Surgery episode 50. I said I would finish this guy, and here I am with him finished. In the flesh, he looks pretty solid, and that is my Ryback. If you guys did enjoy this video, hit that like and smash subscribe, and recommend this channel to others. So I'm really hoping to get 100 subscribers, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
Dude, solid video, man. Solid video. All right, let me pull up SFW animation. I'll switch back over to that, and then we'll call it a night. Someone, any particular video? You only got 4 videos posted, so is there one you want me to show? Let me know in the chat. I'll share whichever video you'd like me to share. Maybe we'll go with we'll do the promo one because that's your longest one. Yep, there you go. You just posted this one earlier today. So we'll pull that up. Let me switch back over to that. All right, and this is Sommet's SFW Wrestling Animations right here on Wrestling with Fans. All right, and there you guys have it. Showing off some love to some of the guys in the channel. They showed me some love on the live stream. I'm going to show them some love on my live streams as well. But I'm going to call it a night here. It's about 9:30. I need to get my big ass to bed. Thanks to all you guys for joining in. So, I mean, it was still a good video, man. Still a good video. You should be proud of anything you do. Like I said on the stream on Sunday, the best piece of advice I ever got from anybody is Think Media. So if you go to YouTube, search Think Media. These guys post like tutorials and tip videos for YouTubers. And their founder, Sean Cannell, who I've been following on YouTube for a long time, back to his early days on the platform. And his motto is, you just got to press record. I watch a lot of these guys. Think Media, Sean Cannell, Nick Nimmin is another one. He live streams every Saturday morning on YouTube tips, how to beat the algorithm, things like that. Brian G. Johnson, so many creators. So if you're just starting on YouTube, and I know a lot of you guys have, smaller channels, kind of like mine right now. I only have a few videos out. If you get some time, check out some of them. Maybe I'll come up with a list of some of these channels that I get tips from, and I'll share them in another stream for you guys. But yeah, just press record. You're not going to be perfect. Don't strive for perfection early on. And the one thing I've done in my Bobby, who you guys will meet on Monday, if you go back into the archives of the podcast, you'll hear him on there probably over a year ago since he's last been on the show. But he works in video production for a company, his real job. And I would always send him the videos and just say, hey, critique me. I was like, I know I'm not perfect. I know my videos are kind of crappy compared to some. But my goal is just to get a little better with each and every one. I try to do something a little bit better every time I put out a video. And that is the best advice I can give anybody. Just press record and try to get a little bit better each and every time you make a video. I do that on the videos. I do that on my live stream. But I'm going to hop off. I'm going to upload Orange Cassidy. So for those of you who are still in here on YouTube that haven't had a chance to see it, it'll be hitting the YouTube channel here in just a little bit. Hyper says here, I watched Vidu. He does that ESP as well. Okay, I'll have to check him out. Mark Bro keeps telling me to cut out bits he doesn't like. and it's good that the one thing hyper is, I'll show like Jen my video. My girlfriend's not going to tell me I'm putting out a crappy video. She's going to tell me she likes it no matter what, because that's just how she is. But show it to people. It's good to take critiques. I always listen to what Bobby would tell me. Like if you noticed in the video, the Orange Cassidy video earlier, I have the mechanical turntable. I had originally bought just a Lazy Susan for your kitchen and spun it by hand. And it was herky jerky at times because I couldn't get it to spin. I couldn't figure out a way to spin it. So he's like, here, check this out. So I went on Amazon and ordered this mechanical turntable. And then my backdrop is literally just foam board. But I'm going to work on that video next. I'm already starting to film my collection video. For hitting 50 subs, that was my goal. Once I hit 50, I was going to post a collection video. So I'm already filming that. I'm going to try to have that out next week. And then I'm going to do a full setup video and tutorial for anybody who might be interested. What I see from here, which if you check out the Instagram, link is in the video description. I posted a picture a couple weeks back of what I see from my old setup. I've moved things around in the last couple weeks. Suge Gamer, welcome. We're just about to wrap up. You're a little late to the party, but thank you for hopping in anyway. You can always go back and watch this after the fact or listen to the audio version of the show. Links to find everything is in the video description below. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram. Links to find all the stuff there. But yeah, I'm going to post some fun videos that are going to be a little bit of the norm, so hopefully it doesn't drive any more subscribers away. But I know the collection video will be fun. Suze, yes, I will be here live 7:30 to 8 p.m. Eastern. It is my AEW Dynamite and NXT preview show. Make you a figure using a new Triple H bearded head sculpt. You look like. Actually, I was going to use like an Otis figure, or maybe like a Big Show, or if they had like a Keith Lee, I'll paint him white, give him a Caucasian skin tone. Do something. Back in the day with the old Jack's Bone Crunchers, we used to make custom figures. So I enjoy WWE games, even though WWE 2K20 was trash. I like that. I might start streaming a game night. Maybe on the weekends, I'll pull up some WWE 2K and stream it here on the channel. And maybe at some point we'll do some, maybe a game night with everybody, all the subscribers. We'll find a game that we can all play and maybe do a little game night or something down the line once we get a little bit more of a following and have some more fun. I use a Titantron. Titantron figs are great. I don't think I have it in arm's reach, but I do have a couple Titantrons. I think I got a Vince McMahon and a Stone Cold Titantron still in the collection. 2K20 was trash. The only thing I really do in 2K20 anymore is just download wrestlers for universe mode. Like at one point, I'll do a quick story here and then I'll hop off. 3 years ago, before the podcast started, myself and my other friend Chris, not the one that's been in the chat, but the other Chris, who was on the very first show, him and I always talked about doing machinima. We had been talking about doing machinima all the way back in 2010 when we first started our first podcast together. And we finally were like, we were going to do a wrestling universe machinima with WWE 2K games. We're going to make like custom figures, custom wrestlers in the Creator Wrestler Suite. Give them crazy names, give them backstories. Because we all did backyard wrestling as teenagers. So we were just going to kind of recreate that, but in WWE 2K and do like fun commentary over it. He's more into video production. I'm more into audio production. So I told him, I was like, dude, if you want to take over the machinima portion and I'll do whatever you need, I'll give you the lead on that. And then I'll take the lead on the podcast, on the audio, the separate show. He's like, okay. And well, the machinima didn't ever actually made it out of like developmental stages, but I'd like to maybe dive back into that in 2K22 if that comes out later this year, which I'm hoping it is. And I've got a video I've been writing, trying to come up with a top 7 video, top 7 things 2K22 needs to have in it, because the AEW games are coming soon too, and I'm looking forward to them. But I really want to go back and play like SmackDown vs. Raw 09. That was like the last great wrestling game. SmackDown vs. Raw 09. 2K19 wasn't too bad, but 2K20 was so bad. I'm glad I got in it when it was half price around like Black Friday or Christmas because I'm glad I didn't pay full price for that game. My game sucked, but I still play it from time to time. I have it on PlayStation 4, which is in my little tower under my PC. I've got to hook it up. I've got a capture card. So maybe we'll do some game streaming here in the near future too. But guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm going to say goodnight. 2K19 is the best. It's the best recent. I mean, 2K15 was really good too. I really enjoyed 2K15, but fingers crossed, 2K22 later this year is good. I've got Battlegrounds on PC. I've just never played it. I downloaded it and never played it. Maybe one day. I'm going to do a draft my figures. Fig Feds are always fun. If you guys don't follow the Major Wrestling Figure podcast, they do their Fig Fed, or they had their Fig Fed. They were fun. SVR 11. I'm more SVR 09. SmackDown vs. Raw 09 is my absolute all-time favorite wrestling game. But guys, thanks for joining me. I need to go to bed. I'm tired. I will see you guys tomorrow, 7:30, for the Wednesday Night War stream. And I forgot to talk about this. I might not be on Friday night. Jen and I might go away for the weekend. So I might do a SmackDown show on Thursday since I won't be live on Friday. We'll see how it goes. But you guys have a great rest of your night. And I will hopefully catch you guys back here tomorrow. So until then, peace.